everyone. So I'm very honored today to help present this award to Kevin DeLeon. A few years ago, I was at Tom Hayden's house, and we were sitting in a study talking about the environment, and he started talking about Kevin DeLeon and how he was going to lead the delegation in Paris for the climate talks. And he said to me at one point, I think Kevin DeLeon is going to be our next U.S. Senator. Now, I'm sure that Kevin had no plans for running, and it just came out of the blue, but here we are. So Kevin has obviously a stellar record on progressive legislation, on the environment with climate change, on homelessness, which is obviously an issue that's near and dear to my heart. He passed legislation for $2.2 billion in homeless housing, and on immigration, as many of you know, for the sanctuary state bill that he passed, SB 54, taking on the Trump administration, making sure that our law enforcement is not working with ICE to deport folks. But I want to speak to Kevin's character. So a couple months ago, I went down to the border, to the Otay Mesa Detention Center. And there was another protest that day in San Diego at the Civic Center, and that's where all the congressional representatives went. That's where all the cameras went. And I went down to the detention center at the border, and we all climbed off the buses, and there were no elected officials. There were just religious leaders in the front, and we started to march. And as we're marching, and all these religious leaders are in the front holding the banner, I looked over to my right, and there was Kevin marching, just quietly walking, not in front of the banner, but just over here, just walking. And for me, I just felt like it was just deeply moving that an elected official would go down there and not go to the big, splashy sort of protest that was happening in the middle of San Diego. And then about a month ago, we had our California Democratic Party convention. I had worked to actually get the California Democratic Party to pass Proposition 10, which will restore rent control for local municipalities. Kevin won the endorsement on Saturday. Came back on Sunday, he gave a 2 to 3 minute speech, and then he stayed. Kevin, Jennifer, a number of people, all of his staff members stayed for 2 hours. After he had won the Democratic Party endorsement, he was getting flooded with requests from press. He had to go to Mountain View to go to a CNN interview. And this man stayed for 2 hours to vote for Proposition 10 for the California Democratic Party to endorse that initiative, because he cares about tenants and he cares about people. And that goes to the heart, I think, of what we want for U.S. Senate. And I'm so glad that he's getting an award today. I see him everywhere like everyone else. I'm sure he's got multiple twins. And I'm going to hand this over to R.O. Miller, who has also worked with him on environmental issues.
Hello, white people.
There's a few brown. There's a few brown people.
A few.
There's
a few.
brown,
Not
1,
nearly
2,
enough.
3, 4. There's about 4 brown people.
Not nearly enough. Because one of the things that I admire so much about Kevin is his ability to build bridges between the white coastal elites.
Oh, the mic.
Yes, the white coastal elites who support climate policy and the brown people who live where the freeways are, who are choked by freeway pollution, who go to school every morning with asthma inhalers, who know that if their kid needs to miss a day of school, then they need to miss a day of work, and they don't get paid, and it's going to affect not just their kids' health, but their jobs. And that's Kevin DeLeon. He's built that bridge. He's made that connection. It's why he's endorsed by the California Federation of Labor. It's why he's endorsed by Climate Hawks Vote, which I happen to run. I had a voice in that. And it's why he has done the most extraordinary, visionary thing possible. You guys may have heard that California is on the path to 100% clean electricity by the year 2045. That is due to 2 forces of nature. And the first is all of you people who have listened when me and many other groups have said, click here, sign this, send this letter, make this phone call, show up to your assembly member. Jesse Gabriel, thank you for being a co-sponsor and listening to us.
Yay!
And can you please make one more phone call? And please, one more phone call, just one, I promise it's the very last one. All of you helped get this grassroots bill passed. The second force of nature that got this bill passed was the man who is going to be our next United States Senator. He did not back down. He did not take amendments. He did not water down that bill. He had the vision to make this possible, and it's why I am truly honored to be presenting an award to Kevin De Leon. And if you're not already on his sign-up list, go fix that, people.
There are sign-up sheets in the back. There are Kevin De Leon buttons, and there's bumper stickers that say, "Thank heaven for Kevin."
Oh, that's cute.
All right, let's give out this award. Here, where's RL?
Where's RL?
Come get in the picture.
Okay.
You want the kids in the picture too? All right. All right, now it's enough for me.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. Progressive Democrats from Santa Monica Mountains, how are we feeling today? I said, how are we feeling today? A couple things I want to say is I want to give a very special thank you to Dorothy for your incredible leadership, for your inspiration, for your motivation. You have been with me since day one, and you have always believed in me. And I want to thank you, for being there with me. You've been incredible, and you were such a fighter, such a champion at the Democratic Party, both at the convention as well as the executive board meeting. So I want to thank you very much. And thank you so much for hosting us in your beautiful house. Look at this view. Let's give it up for Dorothy, please. To RL Miller, RL, I want to thank you very much. Where's RL? RL, I want to thank you very much for your incredible voice on the issue of climate. There's a lot of folks in the state capitol who are afraid of you. And they're not Republicans, they're actually Democrats. They're afraid of you. And it's worked for me where it's if I don't get you on this bill, I'm gonna call RL on you. And it's okay, I'll vote. So I want to thank you. You've been incredible. We've been together in New Orleans just recently at the Net Roots conference where I gave one of the keynote speeches along with Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez and Julian Castro. So thank you very much for what you do for us every day. To Susie Shannon. Susie, thank you for your voice. I see Susie everywhere. Whether it's San Bernardino, whether it is in Orange County, whether it is in Echo Park, Silver Lake, San Fernando Valley, you are everywhere, and your progressive values are amazing. You played such a key role in helping us secure the Democratic nomination for the California Democratic Party. You brought in so many folks who were, perhaps on the fence for the reasons that are understandable, completely understandable, which I respect. And it was your cachet, it was your persuasive skills that really opened up the door for me to secure those votes. And it's been your core values, who you are, what you believe in. Quite frankly, to be honest with you, my campaign's been powered by women. It's been women primarily. And there's 3 outstanding women right here. Thank you very much, Susan. Listen, on the issue of women, my campaign manager is a woman of color. She is the strategist of the campaign. My finance director is a woman. My deputy campaign manager is a woman. She's back over there. Jennifer, what's your... My field director is a woman.
You best believe it.
There. In fact, my campaign is driven primarily by both paid staff as well as non-paid staff. I would say approximately 3/4, about 75%. What do you say, Jennifer? It's about 75% women. We brought a minority along with us, and that's Jonathan right over there. You know?
Yay, Jonathan!
But it is 75% women. And those who have come on board with me, you know, Leah, you know, and RL, and Cara, and obviously Susie, and RL, Dorothy. I mean, the list goes on, and Michelle. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. This campaign's been powered by women. And Jackie said something that was very poignant. These are very extraordinary times in our nation's history. In fact, these are very dangerous times in our nation's history. This president makes Richard Nixon look like a choir boy in comparison. And what is at stake today is a woman's right to choose what she wishes to do with her own body. What's at stake is our children and our children's children's right to breathe clean air into their lungs and drink clean water. What's at stake are the human and civil rights of Muslim Americans, of immigrants, of people of color, of women. What's at stake is our planet on the issue of climate, voting rights. Everything's on the line. This is not a practice run. This is real. This is the real deal, unlike anything we've ever faced in our history. And what just happened recently with regards to the Kavanaugh confirmation process in here is a little disturbing and upsetting. That we had a letter for 3 months and no one knew about it. For 3 months. If Democrats were looking for a reason to delay, still respecting this woman and making sure that her identity was not revealed or is not revealed at all whatsoever, we could have used this to question the character of the man who possibly will be the next U.S. Supreme Court Justice for a generation, dealing on the issues that we care deeply about, that will impact the human condition for all Americans, regardless of who you are and regardless of where you come from. So the issue of seniority, which is, in this case, the narrative for the strength of the senior senator from California, in fact, has failed us. When her colleagues on the Judiciary Committee did not even know the existence of this letter. You respect the individual who was allegedly assaulted back in the day as a high school student, and you make sure you do everything within your power to keep her confidence, her confidentiality, her privacy as a woman who, my understanding, has still been traumatized by this issue. But also at the same time, you work with what you have to do everything that is possible to delay this vote. So Democrats can come together and they can strategize and figure out what it is that they're going to do. Because what's at stake here is our country. And we're never going to take America back if the Democratic establishment in Washington keeps resisting the resistance. If the Democratic establishment in Washington, instead of resisting, continues to be assisting the current status quo in Washington, D.C. And it is our progressive values that we move forward from a position of strength that improve the human condition for all human beings, regardless of who you are, regardless of where you come from, regardless of who you love, regardless of the hue of your skin, regardless of which God you pray to. Because our values are universal. our values for human civil rights. That's why I'm the proud author of the Sanctuary State Bill. Because in this great state, our diversity is our strength. Because our diversity is who we are and where we come from. It is our DNA. That's how we identify ourselves. But that's what makes America such a magical place. That you can be a few generations removed from Scotland, from Ireland, from Wales. You can be from Israel, Ashkenazi, or Sephardic. You can be from Africa, from Ghana, Nigeria. You can be from the Caribbean. You can be from Latin America. You can be a few generations removed from that southern black migration from the deep south. Men and women who are fleeing Jim Crow laws to come to the West Coast seeking a better life, a better opportunity for their children. You can be from China or from India, Iran, from the Middle East. And you can be an immigrant from New York City coming to California. And for those who have already been here, way before we all got here, that's why this is a magical place. That's why our diversity, we don't ban it, we don't deport it, and we sure as hell don't wall it off. Not in California. So that is progressive politics, providing sanctuary for all human beings, regardless of where they come from. Because every human being who's been here 10, 15, 20, 25 years, who pays their taxes, who obey our laws, who pledge their allegiance to the red, white, and blue, they deserve to become full-fledged Americans in the greatest country in the world, my friends, right here in California.
Yes, they do, baby. Yes, they do.
The wealthiest state and the wealthiest nation in the world, where we spend more money than any other nation on planet Earth on the issue of health care. It should be health care and Medicare for all, not Medicare for some. Not Medicare for some. Your HMO or PPO shouldn't have to be Blue Shield or Blue Cross if in fact it's the ER emergency room of LA County USC Medical Center. Everyone deserves quality health care in the wealthiest state and the wealthiest nation in the world. I was in Japan last year. I had a meeting with the Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe. Shortly thereafter, I met with the Minister of Health of Japan. He says to me, we've had universal health care in Japan since the early 70s. Wow. We have a commission here that deals with price controls, transparency, cost controls, the issue with regards to health outcomes, pharmaceutical controls. We make the adjustments necessary as it correlates with inflation. But he says, the problem you have in America is that you have managed to politicize the issue of healthcare. You can't even have a debate on the issue of healthcare. How does it become politicized if you have breast cancer and it's metastasized? Or even worse, ovarian cancer, because women often don't find out they have ovarian cancer until it's in stage 3 or 4. Or if your child suffers from asthma. How is that politicized between left and right and points in between? This is healthcare. So that means if you voted for Donald Trump, if you voted for another Republican presidential candidate, if you voted for Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton, we all want quality healthcare to make sure our families are healthy and they're safe. But somehow, some way, we've managed to politicize it. And taking it even further, we've actually racialized healthcare. Because remember, Obamacare was meant to originally be a pejorative. It was actually meant to scare the bejesus out of folks by identifying a black man to your health care with the hopes that folks will say, like, I want nothing to do with that. Because how many times have we heard these focus groups of everyday Americans, maybe perhaps more to the right, that do you like, I should say, the Affordable Care Act, ACA? Love it. Great. Okay. Do you love Obamacare? Hate it. Got to get rid of it right now. It's communistic, it's socialist, it's undermining the integrity, the values of the greatest country on earth. But we've managed to do that with healthcare. Healthcare is healthcare. And we all deserve quality health care in America. Medicare for all, not Medicare for some, my friends. Medicare for all. You know, the district I represent is probably the most diverse district on planet Earth. I got all of Koreatown. I got all of Chinatown. I got all of Echo Park. I got all of Thai Town, Filipino Town, Little Armenia, Little Bangladesh. Got the largest number of Central Americans outside of Central America, Guatemala, as well as El Salvador. Got the largest number of Mexicans outside of the Republic of Mexico, East LA and Boyle Heights. And I got the largest number of hipsters outside of Brooklyn, New York, in Silver Lake and Echo Park. But it is such a beautiful mosaic. It's an amazing tapestry that is our strength. But I also have 6 major freeways that crisscross my district. I got the 2, I got the 5, I got the 10, I got the 60, I got the 101, the famous Hollywood 101. I got the 710, I got the 134. I got these 7, I should say, major freeways that crisscross my district like a serpent that chokes the air, the oxygen, out of a young girl's lungs. So having access to quality air, when California has probably 7 of the most polluted cities, top 10 in America, that's a human and civil right that we have to fight for. Because so many Californians, so many Americans have bought into the narrative that if we want to grow this economy, if we want to put Californians to work, that we're going to have to pollute. There's no other way to do it. But what I say is that I think through our policies, we have successfully delinked, we have decoupled carbon from GDP. And what that means is that we have grown this economy, and we have lowered considerably our greenhouse gas emissions and other criteria pollutants, NOx, SOx, particulate matter 2.5, all that ugly smog, that brown haze. That's what our children breathe into our lungs every single day. Let me tell you what progressive politics looks like, put into practice. Progressive politics in the 5th largest economy on planet Earth. Because don't be fooled when folks say that the policies and values that we care deeply about, it's a pipe dream. It's pie in the sky. It's crazy lefty talk. It's all this progressive, yakety yak stuff, Go listen to KPFK. Right? Yes. Please do. And contribute too. And contribute. Let me tell you, my friends, what 100% progressive politics looks like. This is it right here. Right here. 100% clean energy. Because on Monday, the governor signed the most far-reaching climate change policy in the world. 100% clean energy by the year 2045. And we are committing ourselves to 100% clean energy because I was the author of Senate Bill 350, 50% clean energy. And by the way, the utilities are blowing past that number. It is projected by the year 2020, which is a year and a half from now, they're going to hit 50%. And my law says you got to hit it by the year 2030. So that means they're 10 years ahead of schedule. So California is the largest economy in the world to legally etch in stone that a subnational will actually meet the standard, not an aspirational goal. It's not a hopeful goal. I know a lot of us progressives hope and we aspire, but sometimes we gotta go beyond that as progressives. Let me be honest with you, as progressives. We do too much hoping and too much aspiring. We gotta start doing. Action. And start action. And start using our political capital and muscle to move policies with intentionality in a sense of purpose. That's how we get these measures. Not by hoping and aspiring. It helps, but from there, we gotta get that political muscle that moves the policies, that improves the human condition. $15 an hour. The highest minimum wage in the country, because no one who works full-time should ever have to live in poverty in the wealthiest state in the nation. Retirement security. I'm a strong believer and supporter of defined benefit pension plans. And we know there's salt on DBs going towards 401k plans, defined contribution, if in fact you're even lucky to even have a 401k defined contribution at your place of employment. And we have so many Californians who are retiring not in their late 50s, not in their early 60s, forget about it. Not in their mid 60s or late 60s. They're retiring in their 70s, mid 70s, late 70s, even early 80s. They're retiring not because they have a nest egg that they have built up over a course of many decades. They're retiring because their arms, their shoulders, their backs, their waist, their legs physically give out. Because that Social Security that they rely on a monthly basis doesn't suffice to pay for their medication, to pay for the roof over their head, to pay for their clothes, to pay for their bus pass. It doesn't suffice. And that's why I move forward with California Secure Choice Cal Savers program, which will go live in 2019, which means that every Californian without access to defined benefit or a defined contribution at their place of employment will automatically be enrolled, an automatic payroll deduction in my Cal Savers program. It's the largest expansion of retirement security since the establishment of Social Security from the New Deal era. Now remember, this is automatic enrollment. This is not like, let's debate the issue of retirement security. Should I go into Charles Schwab or T. Rowe Price? So I go online and check it out. For all of my friends here, if you have no retirement security at your place of employment, you will automatically be enrolled with automatic payroll deduction. You can opt out if you wish to do so. I hope you don't, because that will change a whole generation, a whole culture. These issues should have been done at the national level. That's right. But those who have the financial wherewithal don't think about those who don't have the financial wherewithal. And that is the difference, because it's not about age or gender. Because anyone, no matter how old they are or how young they are, has a right to run for office. It's about values. It's about your values. It's about what you're willing to stand up for. It's about being on the front lines, not on the sidelines. It's not about pleading patience with the hopes that perhaps one day in the near future that this president will be a good president for all Americans. And be mindful about one thing. If that comment wasn't bad enough, that comment was made 3 weeks after the tragedy of Charlottesville, Virginia. When we saw neo-Nazis carrying torches that evening, shouting to the top of their lungs, "We shall not be replaced." And the following day, when we saw neo-Nazis and white supremacists, as well as members of the Ku Klux Klan, marching at the Unity rally, and that young woman tragically killed by that guy who targeted all of the protesters, counter-protesters. And after we saw a president humiliate the United States of America to the nation and to the world, saying, you know, there's plenty of blame to be spread across. So after the 3 weeks, she made that comment, which that's when I thought for the very first time, quite frankly, well, maybe I should run for U.S. Senate. Because my expectation honestly was, well, maybe Ted Lieu's going to do it, or maybe Adam Schiff's going to do it, or someone's going to do it. There's just no way, given right now where we're at in our country. And when I saw no one doing it, I said, well, maybe it's got to be me. You know, not that I'm any special thing, but that's where we're at in our country. And two extraordinary things happened, by the way. We got into the runoff, into the top two. And if you remember opening up that ballot box or that ballot statement or the ballot, there were 32 names there. It looked like the white pages. I said, oh my God, I'm not going to get into the top two. There's no way. Because unless you know me, there's no reason for you to vote for me, right? You don't know me. So why would you vote for Kevin De Leon? And when you go down the list and you look for a Democrat, don't know, Kevin, don't know. Yeah, Dianne Feinstein, I know her. I may not agree on all the issues, but I know her, so it's muscle memory, so you check, and you move forward. So I thought maybe that there's no way I'm gonna make it, because there was another Republican by the name of Bradley, rather innocuous sounding last name, sounds nice, CEO too. That's a perfect title. And a lot of folks are predicting that would be the matchup for the general election. But we got into the top two, and that was our goal, to get into the top two. And then something else extraordinary happened, which was we both campaigned hard, even, fair square, for the hearts and the minds of the delegates of the California Democratic Party. And because all of you, we won overwhelmingly, 65% of the vote.
Power in numbers.
Northern California, Southern California, Central Coast, Central Valley, rural areas, all coming together. White, Latino, African American, Asian American, Native American, racially mixed, Middle Easterners, progressives, as well as pragmatists, all coming together. Women, men, and I kind of think that the majority were women who I got of the vote. That was an extraordinary thing to happen. To be honored, to be bestowed with the imprimatur, if you will, the cachet, the seal of approval of our California Democratic Party. And now, you heard the latest poll. The latest poll now houses 8 points now from Dianne Feinstein. Wow. 8 points. Because Californians want a change. Yes. Because Californians want a new voice. Because Californians want a progressive voice representing them in Washington, D.C. Because Californians want someone who's going to stand up for the little guy and the little woman. Because Californians want someone who's going to stand up on the issue of health care, on the issue of immigration reform, on the issue of civil criminal justice reform, as well as immigration reform, climate change, the environment, and this whole issue with regards to bipartisanship. I know about bipartisanship. I used to be the leader of the California State Senate. I worked with my Republican colleagues every single day. In fact, I can't name names because I don't want to out anybody, but I got a feeling, and I know proof-wise, that a lot of them voted for me. They voted for me because they know me. I didn't go out of my way to humiliate them, to denigrate them, but I know what my values are, and I know what they stand for. And I know we can't work together on this right here. But I know that we can work together on these issues here. And if I can help you, because to me it's about helping everybody. That includes Trump supporter. Because Trump supporter often are the one who has the worst air quality. They're the ones who have no health care as well too. They're the ones who have no parks, no open space. They're the ones whose parents are struggling day by day to make ends meet. That's why we all champion everyone's struggle and their fight. And let me say two last things too, because it's about accomplishments and moving our vision forward. I think a lot of folks here voted for Proposition 68. Let's raise hands. Proposition 68, the park bond, water bond, the park and water bond. I wrote that measure. That was my measure. I wrote it. And the reason why my name's not attached to it, because the federal, again, it's always the feds all the time. The federal rules do not allow, if you open up a federal account, they don't allow your name to be attached on any other initiative. And I said, but I wrote it. It's my baby. It belongs to me. I wrote it. It says that those are the rules. There's another initiative that I wrote that's on the November ballot to deal with the issue of homelessness. Okay, and that is the $2.2 billion, No Place Like Home. That's Proposition 2. That's my initiative. I wrote it. I wrote that initiative because we have to give dignity and respect to our homeless population. Yes. It's metastasized to the point now it is beyond a crisis. And we have to do everything within our power to start building vertically, if we have to, and start giving dignity by putting a roof over the head, and then the necessary wraparound services. For some folks, it may start them on a pathway to rejuvenation, maybe within a year or two. For other folks, it may be a lifelong journey. It may be a lifelong journey. If something is innate, if someone was sexually assaulted, and as a result, to numb their pain, they drank and they used illicit drugs and they rewired themselves all together and they lost who they are. I can't tell you how many cases we have like that too, of folks who were assaulted sexually and ended up homeless over a course of time.
It's our veterans.
And it's our veterans too.
A majority.
And the world's largest superpower with the biggest military budget on earth. And we have our men and women returning back from Afghanistan and Iraq and other places, and we see them in Skid Row. That's not patriotic. That is not patriotic, my friends.
No.
That is anti-American right there. That they put their lives on the line. They go across the world and they come back, and we do not take care of them. Where are the budget augmentations? Or where do they slice off the part of the budget to take care of them when they come back home? That's shameful. That's why we need a strong voice in Washington, D.C. Lastly, let me say, that's why it is more vital than ever that we remain America's exceptional example, a beacon of hope and opportunity in a very uncertain world, that we're not going to allow one electoral aberration reverse generations of progress at the height of our incredible historic diversity, our scientific advancement, our economic output as the 5th largest economy in the world, and our sense of global responsibility. To each and every one of you, let's make sure we get out there and vote. To each and every one of you, let's make sure you tell your neighbors, your coworkers, your friends, your family members, your loved ones to spread the word, to vote November. When we do this, we will make history. We will send a progressive voice to Washington, D.C., and you will all be there with me. With that, God bless each and every one of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.